Hey everyone, it's Paul with your Bold Profits Daily, and today is a special student youth edition. We have some very young, strong hands nations members, family members, and they follow us, follow stocks, and today we are going to respond to some questions that came in from two of them. We've got a high schooler named Jack, and we've got a high schooler named Gavin. I want to tell you a little bit about these two amazing young people that have gotten interested in investing at a very early age. The investing bug has hit them. They've come across Profits Unlimited. They follow it. And so in this Bold Profits Daily that's dedicated to all of you students that are out there that are interested in finance, interested in the stock market and investing in money, this is dedicated to you. Keep it up, keep following it. This is a fascinating, incredible world where you can use your curiosity, your interests to pursue everything. There's just about every field is represented in the stock market and investing. And personally, one of the fields that I personally love is actually biotechnology, which really just by pursuing my curiosity, I was able to come to a really great understanding of how these stocks work, enough of an understanding of its science. And so with that, let me just get to our first Strong Hands Nation student member. This is Jack. I know Jack lives in Arkansas. And so I just want to tell everyone a little bit about how Jack found us. Jack says that he found the Stocks app on his iPad when he was 8 years old. So the investing bug has caught him very young. And he says it looked like fun, but he didn't really have the initial motivation to learn. And then in November of last year, he had an investment competition in his global business class, and he really got into it. And then he came across an ad for Profits Unlimited, but as he puts it, by dumb luck while researching for the competition, and then has been watching the Profits Unlimited updates and has gained some amount of knowledge and interest as well from it. And with his favorites from the Profits Unlimited portfolio, listen to this, he actually won the competition. So congratulations to you, Jack. Well done. He also goes on to say that he doesn't want a traditional desk job. I don't know if those are going to be available anyway, Jack, but nonetheless, I get that as someone that has worked really from any number of locations, because with investing, one of the great things, it's about using what is here and reading and understanding and thinking about it, and then coming up with enough certainty to act on it. So I understand what you're saying. And he continues to say this, Jack says he likes investing for the freedom it provides and the money you can make if you do it properly. So now he's reading, meeting with local financial experts, trading with his own money, and keeping up with Profits Unlimited to learn. He says he wants to major in finance and do a financial internship before college. And then he has a few questions for me. And he says, what type of person or occupation would someone like me learn the most from through an internship or apprenticeship? And I'm going to say something that might be a little bit unpopular. And I'm going to say that to become a good investor is ultimately a pretty lonely enterprise. You can gain some amount of knowledge from talking to people. However, this is certainly a field that you learn by doing, by making mistakes, sitting down and working through why you made them and putting patterns together, accumulating as many facts as you can, constantly keeping up with every aspect of every field, directly in terms of investing, psychology, obviously the various parts of the companies that you invest in, technology, biotechnology space, whatever it is. So you will get some small amount from talking to people. However, I would tell you that this is a hands-on field. This is a field where you need to be doing to actually learn. Jack has a second question, says, how does someone my age go about creating connections at a higher level? For instance, how could someone from Arkansas get the chance to learn on Wall Street surrounded by experts? Now, personally, I took a slightly different path in the sense that I feel like a lot of the things that I've learned by reading and by doing. And for sure, some of the mechanics of trading and understanding how Wall Street works, those I got by working at various jobs prior to doing what I currently do. So in terms of connections like that, I would tell you that a lot of the things that you're currently doing would give you that experience. You can go to a local financial advisor and see if you can intern or apprentice with them over the summer, and you will see the mechanics of the stock market, the mechanics of investing. You will also see what I believe is equally important, the psychology of investing and how people react to stress, how people react to uncertainty, how people react to risk. And that will give you a lot of knowledge as well in terms of how to utilize what you know and understand. The last question Jack has says, when you enter a position, do you usually have a specific selling point in mind? If so, how do you come to this? So I have to tell you that when we determine when to buy or sell is determined by our understanding of obviously the facts which are related to the company in question. And then it is also a matter of where the market sits, which is a psychological judgment. In other words, we are always looking to determine what the demand and supply balance is for a particular stock and for the market as a whole. And if everybody or most of the people we believe or in our judgment are already into the market, it means there's a lot less demand for that particular stock, a lot less demand for the stocks, for the overall stock market in general as a sort of generic commodity. And so those are the things that really matter for us in terms of both buy and sell decisions. Okay, so I want to now get to our second student Strong Hands Nation member. This is Gavin. Gavin just completed his junior year out at Vernon Hills High School in Northwest Chicago. He's involved in a lot of extracurricular activities, such as being part of the Future Business Leaders of America. Excellent job, well done, keep up all the good work. The Stock Market Club, peer tutoring. I have to tell you that that's got to be one of the best things, because I really believe that I've learned a lot, really in some ways, from having casual conversations with my peers. Most teaching, I believe, happens when no one is actually trying to teach. So I really think that's an incredible thing that I wish more schools did around the country. And then he also is part of Best Buddies, which is an organization that promotes inclusion for all and friendship for kids who have developmental and intellectual disabilities. And I actually know of Best Buddies, and I know it's a fantastic organization as well. And he also does fundraising for his community. And he also mentions that he's an avid golfer, like one of our Bold Profits team, Patrick, who I recently interviewed and whose interview is on this channel. So go check that one out. And he's played on varsity golf for the past 3 years. And his friends and family are incredibly important to him. And in this moment, we know that that's obviously something that all of us feel. We are all in this together, obviously as a Strong Hands Nation, Strong Hands family, however, on a broader basis across our country. Ultimately, we are all friends with each other as being part of this incredible, great nation. And we know that everything that we originally have starts with our families. So I really commend you for who you've already become at such a young age, and it's wonderful. And now let me just get to your questions, Gavin. Gavin says, what steps do you recommend taking to start heading towards a career similar to mine? So as you might know, I actually came here as a college student from India, and then went through college and then started on Wall Street, actually in the back office, doing sort of very simple reporting. I always knew I wanted to manage money. I always knew I wanted to become an analyst. And the thing is that my model, I believe, is no longer available because the money management business has changed so much. Wall Street has changed so much. The internet and the access to information has changed everything about it. And I believe that the vast majority of what you today need to be successful is something that you will have to do by doing. You can get a lot of it through YouTube videos. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. There are some fantastic books, and perhaps in a future YouTube video, I'll present some of these books to everyone and mention to you that you can use as a starting point. However, the vast majority of the work has to be done by yourself, and by actual investing, and by going through the actual experience of actually doing it. Second question from Gavin is, when conducting research on different companies, how large of a role does the current leadership structure of a company play in your decision to invest? What are the different red flags which would immediately signal a stock would not be a buy? So I have to say that in general, the leadership or management of a company is a somewhat small thing for me. Their behavior is a much bigger thing for me. So if I see a management of a company issue press releases, speak in a way that suggests they are looking to hide the actual condition of their business, pretend that they are doing something when they're doing something else, act in a way that raises suspicions, raises red flags, those are issues for me. However, I rarely spend a lot of time actually determining that someone's a superstar CEO, because in my experience, the actual company and what it does, if it is a company that has a great product, a great service, a great brand, that tends to generate much of the wealth of the company rather than what the management does. And as Warren Buffett has said, you can put a great management in charge of a terrible business. However, the terrible business stays and the great management usually ends up leaving because they're unable to do anything. On the other hand, even a bad management of a good business will actually eke out pretty good returns. So I would tell you that for me, the management of a business is a fairly small consideration. How they communicate, how they behave, that's a much bigger deal for me. And the last one is that, what are the major factors when considering which sectors in the economy are primed to thrive or struggle? Once you identify a sector, what are your next steps of action? So with our going upness strategy of selecting stocks, the thing that we're looking for, because while many investors focus on the business, we are not long-term investors. We are somewhere in between sort of medium-term investors to speculators. And for us, what matters is the demand and supply balance of the stock in the market. Now, if we were a private investor and owned the entire business, and we were able to actually take the cash that the money that and money that the company generates, then we would look at it in this way. So for us, what we're looking at is the demand and supply balance of the particular sector, industry, company in the stock market. And if everybody is sort of on one side, if everybody is sold all of their stock and there are going to be improvements, even if it's coming off a very bad scenario, then for us, the demand and supply balance is in our favor, and we would look to buy that sector, that industry, in anticipation of a continuation of those results. Now, that's a judgment call. That's something that you have to do by reading very widely across the company, across the industry, across the sector, and make a judgment. And so that's the most important thing in selecting a stock for us, which is that any fact, any news only matters to the extent that it is going to affect the demand and supply for the stock, because ultimately we are invested in the stock and we get our gains from the stock, we get our benefit from the stock rising, which is the essence of my going upness strategy. And so I would say that's the way that we look at it. So I want to thank both you and Gavin and Jack for writing in and for being part of the Strong Hands family, Strong Hands Nation. If there are others of you out there that are in high school or college and are part of our Strong Hands Nation, Strong Hands family, and you have more questions, send them in sometime and I will do another special Bold Profits Student Youth edition and try and answer more of your questions for you. And if you like the content on this channel, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, comment below. You can follow me on Twitter at Mampilly Guru, and I'll have another Bold Profits for you next week. Until then, this is Paul saying bye.